All right, so this is just an idea. It's a program called Screencast-O-Matic, and it allows you to narrate, show your voice, audio, all that over like whatever you're showing on the TV or on your computer. So you can do like Chalk Talk and stuff like that. So I don't know, just to kind of show you how I would do it, just as an idea. Anything you guys can use to improve your vocabulary during this time and get kids thinking about the concepts and the schemes and the big picture stuff is going to be beneficial, I think, especially when it gets time to trying to go fast to recover some of that lost time and conditioning and all that. So, sorry, my dog's going nuts. So, anyways, so D line and linebacker spill technique. I kind of base this off of, another thing this is nice for too is if you're going to use it, like if you ever want to talk at a clinic or, those Glazier guys come from somewhere. So starting a portfolio, starting your own kind of, not promotional stuff, but I mean, just kind of this is your resume as a coach. So if you want to move up, move to a different school, go up or, coach in a different spot, this is a good way to do that. Or if you want to, present at any of those conferences. So anyways, I would kind of do this like I would typically do it at a practice, start off with some A squared stuff. That's where you're going to do your install stuff. So D-line alignment first, and then linebackers alignment, because we're talking about the box as a whole. This is for a 4-2-5. So at the end, I show a clip that's a 3-4, but it's the same spill technique, just to kind of reiterate that the technique is the skill that you're going to use regardless of the front. But, little things will change in the front, but the overall skill is going to stay the same. Defensive technique alignments, just so kind of getting that vocabulary in there. And then the assignment for each position, where they're going to be. So, and then what they're kind of going to be doing in any sort of play that they're going to face here. And then always throw in some vocabulary there. It's a good way to assess what your kids know already. If they're completely unable to pick up what you're talking about, it might be just the vocabulary is confusing them. They've never heard these words, and sometimes we as coaches take it for granted that what we just talk about is common knowledge really isn't common knowledge outside of people that really live and breathe football. So really, I think when I talk about it, all I'm going to talk about is mesh, wrong arm, staying square, down power, spill, and swarm. When I talk about the spill technique in most defenses, swarm is just that important, that hustle concept to the ball. And when I run the 4-2-5, I'm giving up an extra guy in the box. So getting guys hustling to the ball is really key in a 4-2-5. If you want to have a flexible defense that doesn't dictate what you're weak to, hustle and swarm is going to be big for that. So real quick then, I would just show a couple videos here that I've got pulled up. So I got these pulled up from the beginning, or from college. I think they're all from the Big Ten, actually. So kind of show it on a more technically advanced scale first, really show what it should look like, and then show some highlights or clips of it working and not working at the level that the kids are going to play at. So here we see Ohio State versus Penn State, I believe, playing here, where we're going to see the kick out, or the wrong arm is out of number 90 right over here as he comes through. This is what we would consider down when they're bringing two guys. Power, they're just bringing one, so they're bringing two here. So we're going to get the first wrong arm, which is going to spill this second blocker. Instead of turning up, it's going to become a second kick out block, which then kind of gets bottled up and wrong armed, which spills it further. Right here, we would emphasize an inside out technique. So this hang player, whatever your extra guy on the box right here, isn't having to recover. He's just forcing it out to this guy, chasing, and then this guy still has a really beneficial angle to it outside. This works out well for him, but just as if you wanted it to really look the way you technique wise, you'd probably want to coach that as an inside out technique there. All right. So next one here, he drops the ball, which kind of contributes to a little bit of it, but you can see the play develop, and you can see how these spill techniques really defeat this type of look that you see. So here again, we've got going against the grain out here, trying to hold this backside, holding this backside linebacker with all this motion backwards. One of the keys in the 4-2-5 is both middle linebackers have to be able to get to the play side of the center. So backside linebacker gets play side A gap, play side linebacker gets play side B gap. typically. So there and then there. And we see him getting nice and tight right here on the right side end. He's reaching out for that, for the hip of that down block so he can get nice and tight and forces this to spill back outside. Getting my controls messed up. Working flat, staying square there, key out of number 6, and then you see that heavy swarm to the ball. Guys coming from all angles to the ball, being physical at points of contact. A little bit worse angle on this one, but we can still see it pretty well. Guy gets left here, stays flat, doesn't attack the ball here, attacks in front of the mesh. I say attack the mesh, but really it should be attacking in front of the mesh. That's going to pull you flat down the line, and then you really want to see this linebacker flying in here and then eyes inside. So everything in this spill works inside out. We want to take away the inside first and force that to go to the outside. So everything gets cut down, right? 3-yard gain. He could have taken a 2 or 3 yard gain, tries to make more out of it, potentially gives up a gain. And then there, this is the key to that swarm tackle. We see, or that swarm mentality, we see what should have been a negated play, bringing up, you know, a gain of 2, maybe a gain of 3, and he's taking it for a house call because we gave up at that point of attack. I think this is that same play. Whoop. Sorry, I'm getting my keys messed up. So here, take it back a little bit farther. Sorry, guys. So the guy that gets left here, he's not attacking back here. He knows that's going to outrun it, so he's going to work flat down here, force it inside. 40 plays a little bit tentative here, which is part of the problem. And then whoever this backside linebacker doesn't really cut this. He should be flying into this gap. He should be flying here. He's got it capped there, chasing from the backside, and then there should be an edge player here that would cut this play down. That doesn't quite happen, so not all the puzzle pieces quite fit tight. So now this edge player, instead of being here, is about 4 yards deep, which allows this just to be kind of undercut. And now once space opens up, we get athletes in space, which is a disadvantage for the defense. So looking at what it looks like at the high school level, we'll just go through these real quick. Here's where we're going to see our fits. We're getting a left here, so we should be tight down the line, wrong arming. Here again, we got 2 guys going, so this is what we would consider a down look. Backside A-gap should be filling, or backside linebacker should be filling, the backside A-gap, sorry. The play side linebacker filling play side B-gap. We got eyes inside. We don't have eyes looking outside. And then we have a good scrape from the backside. He gets left here. So he's flat down the line, attacking in front of the mesh as well, which gives you a good inside-out read. And then when this quarterback pulls it to try to, or I don't know if he pulls it or gives it, but it ends up kind of coming up in here. This backside tackle's still in a great position to make a play on the ball. Right there. So the quarterback does pull it, and just great swarm to the ball. Poor execution on the tackling. We were where we needed to be, but the swarm kind of bails us out because we get a little bit sloppy there with our tackling. Here we see where the puzzle pieces don't quite fit the way we'd like them to. This goes for a house call against Lathrop. Lathrop has tremendous athletes, as we all know, so we really need to make sure that we're fitting tight in our fits on this edge here. It'll pull up and show where our fit should be. Okay, we should get eyes inside, just like on that last play. We should get squeezing this guy down hard inside instead of settling for this real estate outside. We really want to be fighting for this real estate inside, so he has to bounce it quicker. This guy is he's our extra hang player safety. This is what we would call our Patriot safety here. It should be eyes inside. Instead, he gets his eyes inside, but his body goes outside, so he loses leverage on this slot receiver. This free safety here doesn't fill. He works laterally first. Once he reads this as run, he needs to be gaining ground towards the line of scrimmage to get a tight fit there. Since he doesn't do that, it ends up being a huge cutback lane, and all of this real estate through here becomes a viable option for this running back. There's really a one-level defense once you get past that line of scrimmage in this case, because we get poor fits. And there again, we see the you know, you really see the mismatch in athletes sometimes between schools when things break down in a scheme sense. Last play here is actually going to be out of the 3-4. I believe it's against Colony, but it'll show you the same spittle technique in theory right here. So here again, eyes inside, fill in that play side B gap. He gets left, so he jumps hard down inside. There's actually no kick out block, I think, because he goes too fast. And then play side A gap from this backside linebacker. This is Steele Davis is the D end right here. He's kind of a slow-footed kid. He's not a real speedster of a D end, but he really understands angles. He works flat down the line. One kid ends up making this tackle, but I just want you to look and see how many players are in position if Ben misses that tackle right there. Let me run that back. Whoop. So Ben ends up making the tackle here. He lowers a pretty good hit on this kid. But if he doesn't make that tackle, we've got guys coming from all angles here. Fitting in here, fitting in there, fitting in there. We got another guy here. We got Jordan Copeland from the free safety position, really setting a hard edge right here, just making kind of a mess. Okay, and then hands-on out of the defense. So really critical out of this front, and really in any defense, to be aggressive. Okay, if you've got to be active with your hands, we can't get pushed around. We got to be fighting for the real estate that we need to occupy in order to get those fits tight and get those edges secured. Otherwise, it opens up plays like we see in that Lathrop clip. So, all right, hopefully that, like I said, there's more of just how I would do a video if I was using Screencast-O-Matic. It's the just type it in, Screencast-O, the letter Matic. I think you have to download a couple of things on your computer, but it's a pretty slick program, and it helps you just kind of be a little bit more interactive with the videos that you're showing kids, or if you want to make videos to introduce some of that vocabulary, some of those concepts, some of those schemes, and just get them used to hearing your voice, whether you're a position coach or a coordinator or whatever the case may be. So, all right, hopefully that works. Hopefully that helps. All right, later.